Bonjour and welcome to Friday's Fragrant Quiz. And this Friday we're talking about grass, not the grass that you mow, Grasse, Grasse, where I have just come back from in a very eventful trip, business/leisure, and you can listen to my very lengthy 1 hour and 6 minute podcast if you want to learn about my adventures and my top tips for Grasse. But now let's go on to the question. If you've ever been to Grasse, you might know some of these answers, or if you've taken any of my courses where I talk about the region of Grasse in France, which is about a 20-minute drive from Cannes. And it's a beautiful, incredible, picturesque, historic place. But let's get on to question number 1. Why is Grasse nicknamed the perfume capital of the world? Question number 2. What flower is celebrated in Grasse's famous May festival? If you've listened to my podcast, you'll know. If you've got your pen and paper ready, I'm going to give you the answer at the end to all 10 questions, and then I'll give you an explanation of those answers. How far back, question number 3, how far back does Grasse's history in perfumery go? Question number 4, besides roses, there's a clue to your question number 2, but I'm not going to give any more clues. Besides roses, what other fragrant plants are important to Grasse's perfume industry? Question number 5. What famous perfume houses are associated with Grasse? There's 3 main ones. You get bonus points if you can name all 3. Question number 6. What role did the glove-making industry play in the rise of perfumery in Grasse? Question number 7. What are some of the traditional methods used in Grasse for extracting essential oils from flowers? Traditional methods we're looking at. Question number 8. What are some iconic perfumes that feature ingredients from Grasse? Now there's a lot, but I'm talking iconic perfumes. And I've mentioned these perfumes before. In fact, there's 2 of them and they're my favourites. Perhaps that's why I love Grasse so much. Question number 9. What is the International Perfume Museum in Grasse and why is it significant? Question number 10. How do local farmers in Grasse ensure the quality and authenticity of their floral products? And now here is a bonus question, and then I've got a stupid question coming up after this one. I'll tell you why it's stupid after. Bonus question. What surprising, or not so surprising in my case, animal-derived ingredient was historically used in Grasse's perfumes and still today fascinates perfumers? And here's the stupid question. Now, why is it a stupid question? I get my questions from ChatGPT and Google Gemini. So I put in, give me some answers, and then they give me some questions and answers for my quiz, and I tell it the subject, and it gives me questions, and I go through the ones that I like, and then I ask for some more. But I always have to fact check them, of course. And mostly I know whether they're factual or not. But I asked it to give me a really unusual, shocking fact about Grasse, and this is what it came up with. And the question is, what unusual historical practice in Grasse involved using live animals in the perfume extraction process? So, the answer is, in historical Grasse, The practice of maceration involved using live animals, specifically fat-coated pigeons, to extract perfume oils from flowers. And the explanation is this shocking method involved coating pigeons with a layer of animal fat and then placing them in a room filled with fragrant flowers. As the pigeons moved around, the flowers' essential oils adhered to the fat, and the pigeons were then carefully cleaned, and the fragrant fat was used to make perfumes. This unusual practice highlights the lengths to which perfumers in Grasse would go to capture the essence of flowers, though it has long been discontinued in favour of more humane methods. I have never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life. Now, I know what maceration is, and maceration is they did used to use animal fat. They now use vegetable fat. And different kinds of fats, but not animal fat anymore. But they did used to use animal fat, but they would get the animal fat and they would put it in like these cases, and then they would handpick the flowers, put the flowers into the fat, and then cover it, and then the oils from the flowers would absorb into the fat, and this is how they would get the oil into the fat. And then, you know, there's all kinds of different methods they would use to then extract it from the fat. But a pigeon? Really? Coating a pigeon? Imagine coating a pigeon in fat. But the thing is, even if they did do that, which they definitely didn't, I was like, that pigeon would have to stay adhered to those flowers would have to stay on the pigeon for like days. The pigeon would just be covered in fat and jasmine flowers. Days for the fat to actually absorb, for the flowers fragrant aroma to absorb into the fat. So that is so ridiculous. So there you go. If you use AI for anything, please, if you don't know the answer off the top of your head, please fact check it. Because I asked it then. I said, hang on a minute, is that true? They were like, no, the practice of using live animals, specifically fat-coated pigeons, to extract perfume oils is not true and seems to be fictional or exaggerated story. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let's get on to the answers now. That was so funny. Okay, so question number 1 is, why is Grasse nicknamed the perfume capital of the world? And the answer is, Grasse has been a centre for perfume production for centuries, and the region boasts ideal conditions for growing fragrant flowers like roses and jasmine and lavender. And skilled perfumers have long established a tradition of extracting essential oils and creating exquisite fragrances in Grasse, which solidified its reputation as the world's perfume capital. So it's the quality of the oils that are produced there. Question number 2 was, what flower is celebrated in Grasse's famous May Festival? And the answer is, it's the May Rose Festival, otherwise known in France as the Rose de Mai Festival, May Rose. And Grasse celebrates a particular kind and species of rose called the Rose centifolia, also known as the May Rose. And you will notice this rose because it has like hundreds of petals, hence the name centifolia. And it's not like the roses that you buy in Valentine's Day, the red roses with, you know, like 30 petals or something like that. They've got hundreds. Often, maybe not hundreds, maybe that's an exaggeration, but yeah, there is specifically the Rose centifolia, and they do this during the annual festival. And this particular rose variety blooms in May, so it offers a short but precious harvest window for its highly prized essential oils, which is used in many iconic perfumes, and they either steam distill it or they solvent extract it, but they've got a very short window. And I actually went to a rose farm, and they had rose and they had tuberose and another species of rose I forgot the name of now, but we met the farmer there. We all went on a bus trip after the expo, at the end of the week of my trip, and all the roses are gone. There was about 10 roses left. The people on our trip were just going around picking the roses that were actually left. I got a couple myself and brought them home and put them in a plastic bag, and they're all smell mulchy now, of course. But it's such a short window, and we missed it. We missed the whole thing being in bloom. It's really interesting. If you go to Grasse, go in May, but probably go in early May so you don't miss it like I did. And I missed the festival, which is at the beginning of May too, the first couple of weeks of May. So, yes, I missed it. You'll hear about that if you listen to my extra long podcast about my Grasse road trip. Question number 3 was, how far back does Grasse's history in perfumery go? And Grasse's involvement in fragrance can actually be traced back to the 16th century. And leather tanners initially used fragrant materials to mask strong odours, leading to the development of perfumery techniques. And by the 17th century, Grasse was already a major supplier of essential oils and fragrances to royal courts across Europe. Wouldn't that have been a wonderful time, especially if I was royal? Imagine me a queen on my throne with people, gifting me, beautiful fragrances with these natural oils from Grasse. I would love that. I would have been a fabulous queen. A very nice smelling one too. Question number 4 was, besides roses, what other fragrant plants are important to Grasse's perfume industry? And I mentioned jasmine and lavender earlier in question number 1's answer, but also Grasse has very fertile soil and a Mediterranean climate, so it's cold in the winter and it's very warm in the summer. And it's quite high up, it's got a high altitude. The same for lavender in Provence. The reason it grows so well there is because of the high altitude and the climate. But this climate is perfect for cultivating a variety of fragrant plants. So there's jasmine, lavender, orange blossom, mimosa, and also violet are all essential ingredients used in Grasse's perfumeries, contributing to their diverse fragrant palette. And if you go to any of the shops in Grasse, you'll be able to get like little confits, it's like a little jelly, and you can get violet, rose, mimosa. I bought a couple of those and tried them with orange blossom bread with goat's cheese. It's absolutely delicious. It's making my mouth water. Question number 5 was, what famous perfume houses are associated with Grasse? Now, I've been to all 3 and they're very famous. And the most famous of all, that's very central to the centre of Grasse, is Fragonard. And the other 2 is Gallimard and Molinard. So these are 3 houses. They're a must visit. They do free tours. Gallimard is a bit salesy. I don't like that. In Gallimard, you can actually go on this little free tour. It's very cute. Got a shop downstairs. And when you go there, there's like a little lab as well that you can see. That's open, but you need to check online because they're normally closed for lunch, especially Gallimard is closed for lunch, and I went there and they opened it up for me. I felt like a special VIP, really. I was allowed to wander around on my own. There was no people there. I think she felt sorry for me because I just rocked up on the chance that there was a tour happening soon. Anyway, so Gallimard, Molinard and Fragonard, they all have their roots in Grasse and they're renowned perfume houses. Question number 6 was, what role did the glove-making industry play in the rise of perfumery in Grasse? I mentioned earlier about tanneries. The glove-making industry played a pivotal role in the rise of perfumery in Grasse by popularising the use of scented gloves. In the 16th century, Grasse was actually a centre for leather tanning, which produced unpleasant odours. Now, if you've ever smelled a leather perfume, it's not leather. It's how we perceive leather to smell. But if you were actually to smell real leather, it stinks. It's a foul, foul odour. And they used to try to get rid of, and they'd mask this smell with perfume. And to mask these smells, the glove makers began scenting all of their products with the local flowers that grew in Grasse. But this practice in popularity actually led to the establishment of Grasse as a hub for perfumery, and they stopped tanning because perfumery became so central to their industry. Question number 7. What are some of the traditional methods used in Grasse for extracting essential oils from flowers? And the traditional methods were cold enfleurage and steam distillation. These are traditional methods. Steam distillation is still used today, but the cold enfleurage involves placing flower petals on a layer of fat, I mentioned earlier in my pigeon question, a layer of fat to absorb their essential oils over time, while steam distillation uses heat to release and collect these oils from plant materials. Both methods are labour intensive. Actually, steam distillation is not that labour intensive, apart from the harvest that you've got the harvest beforehand. But definitely the cold enfleurage is very labour intensive and very rarely used today. But Robertet is a perfume house that still uses enfleurage for tuberose. So that's an interesting fact, bonus for you. So what are some iconic perfumes that feature ingredients from Grasse? And they are two of my favourite perfumes in the world, Chanel No. 5 and Dior's J'adore, which famously use jasmine and May Rose from Grasse, which contributes to its timeless and luxurious scent. And similarly, J'adore incorporates these exquisite floral notes too, which showcases the region's contribution to high-end fragrances. Question number 9 was, what is the International Perfume Museum in Grasse and why is it significant? So this is a museum. It's an absolute must-see. If you only do one thing when you're in Grasse, go to the museum. It's a cultural institution. It's dedicated to the history and the art of perfumery. It was opened, it's actually quite recent, 1989. The museum offers exhibits on the historical evolution of perfumery, showcasing ancient artifacts, modern fragrances, and the science behind scent creation. It's significant for preserving and promoting the rich heritage of Grasse's perfume industry. And they have a section about history. They have a section where you can see the plants, like patchouli, rose, jasmine, etc., orange blossom. But you can also, there's an extra section if you go out of there and then you come into a garden where you can have your own little picnic and then go into another room. It's filled with perfume bottles from antiquity up until the present day. And it's absolutely fascinating. I've got about 2,000 pictures. And but the history is quite interesting as well, whereby one that I found really interesting fact is that I can't remember where it was before the Victorian era, I think, where they used to believe that if you bathed in water, you would drown, because they thought that everything that you put on your skin got into your bloodstream. So they thought that you would drown. So they wouldn't wash with water. So that's why they used powders, and they would clean themselves with sand and powder and fragrance themselves with powder and things like that. So I thought that was really interesting, and you'll find that out if you go to the museum. Question number 10. How do local farmers in Grasse ensure the quality and authenticity of their floral products? Now, the local farmers ensure this through using traditional cultivation methods, which is meticulous hand harvesting and strict quality control measures. So they adhere to age-old practices such as hand-picking flowers at the peak times, such as early in the morning or in the evening at dusk, when the flowers are the most fragrant, particularly jasmine. Is fragrant at 2 times of the day, and that's when they hand pick them, and they use then organic farming techniques to do the harvesting. And these methods actually preserve the integrity of the flowers, the scent profile of the flowers, and guarantee that only the finest ingredients are used in perfumery. But once they've picked them, they've hand-picked these flowers, before that fragrance fades, they go on to then immediately extract the oil. And they have Romanian gypsies. I was told by somebody I'm not allowed to say gypsies, but gypsies call themselves gypsies, so I don't see why not. And I'm going to keep saying it until I'm told otherwise by a gypsy. Romanian gypsies, generations, over 100 years, have been picking jasmine and rose flowers in these gardens, and they just go around. It's just really beautiful. They go around, they've got big aprons on, one of them, I think it said, don't worry, be happy on her apron. It was lovely. And then they have the beautiful wicker baskets, and they hand pick these flowers and put them into the baskets. That's how they do it. And they're still doing it now. It's a beautiful thing to see. And you can see it if you go at the right time. Bonus question. What surprising animal-derived ingredient was historically used in Grasse's perfumes and still today fascinates perfumers? And the answer is civet. This is a musky secretion from the civet cat. Just Google civet cat. They put them in cages. They're still doing it in some countries now. I think they're still doing it in China, actually. And civet is a musky secretion from the cat, which was historically used in Grasse's perfumes. Today, synthetic alternatives are used to replicate the musky, sensual scent of civet without harming animals. But its historic use still fascinates and surprises many people in the perfume industry still today. And it came from the perineal glands of the civet cat, and it was used as a fixative as well to prolong the scent of a perfume. But this extraction process is controversial and inhumane, and it led to a decline in its use. But there are still people that are still doing it, like I said, and I'm not sure which perfumes actually still use it, but it wouldn't be allowed to be sold in the EU. Because of their very strong IFRA, International Fragrance Association regulations, but also because of the EU cosmetic guidelines about animal products in cosmetics and perfumes. So that's it for this week's Fragrant Quiz. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some really fascinating facts. And if you can get to Grasse, please do. It's incredible. I've been there 3 times in the last 8 years. I'm planning to go annually. I'm hoping that I'm going to get to the Jasmine Festival later on in the summer, at the end of the summer, and I'm hoping to go to Grasse again. And actually this time, catch the May Rose Festival. Until next time, a bientôt. Stay fabulous.